What I've got here today is a Husqvarna 55 Rancher. This saw here was given to me. It's got no compression whatsoever. You can see from pulling it over, it's just very easy. So I'm going to take the cylinder off and the piston in that. I want to see if the cylinder is salvageable. Sometimes you can get away with putting a new piston and rings, or ring. I don't know if there's two rings in this one. So to start off with, got to remove the chain brake, the bar and the chain. The reason for that is because I want to take off the handle, because when you pull the cylinder off, the handle can get in the way. I'm going to put all my parts in a box here, so that if ever I go to put that together, they're all there. Push this, get the chain off. Okay, so I got this off. Now I'm going to take the handle off with the Allen, take the Allen screws out here. So to take the handle off, there's two screws here, and there's two underneath, and they're all Allen heads. Okay, so I got this off, I'm going to throw that in the box. All the screws I'm going to throw into a bag and throw it in the box when I'm done. Just going to leave these bar nuts back on these studs. Next thing is to get the cover off with a Phillips screwdriver. Then the air filter off. Also the muffler's got to come off. These are two 5/16 nuts. And there's a small Allen bolt here that's got to come off as well. Sometimes the nuts here you got to be careful because the studs can break. So I'm going to go gently. If you find that it doesn't really want to come out, just loosen and then tighten again. And then come back. There, that one's coming out. You can also put a bit of penetrating oil before. Worst case scenario is if they really don't want to come out, just heat them up with a propane torch or acetylene, and they'll come off really easy. This Allen bolt here has a lot of dirt in it, so I'm just going to slightly clean it with a screwdriver. This bolt here you don't have to remove all the way. It's just for this little flap here on the muffler, and it can bend down like that. Just going to slide this off. And then the studs come out like that if you want to take them off. I'm going to take them off just so that they don't get in the way. Just going to bolt the nuts back on with the gasket and throw it in my bag of fasteners. So I'll show you the piston and the ring next. So you can clearly see that the piston and the ring are scored. So they're finished. So the next thing is to take off the cylinder and see if the cylinder is damaged. So the next thing is to get the carburetor off. Get your spark plug cap off as well. For the carburetor, there's two Allen screws again, same size as all the other ones. And there's a third screw down at the bottom there as well. So the whole thing's going to come off the carburetor. The linkage is still hooked up to it. Right over here, where my finger is. So I'm going to take the fuel line off, right here. I'm just going to gently pry with the screwdriver to get it off. So with the flat screwdriver, I'm just going to find the edge here and push back. I've already drained the gas out of this one too, so it's not going to be overflowing. And now the linkage. So the only thing holding the carburetor to the saw now is the linkage right here. So I'm just going to open up the butterfly a bit and just slide back like that. And now I've got the carburetor off. And all I got left to do now is take off these two Allen bolts here. So at this point here, I've got to remove the recoil because the air injection part right here, the tube, is screwed down underneath there. So I've got all the 4 screws loose or off. And now you're going to come here, there's a plastic cover. If it doesn't come off easily, you can easily gently pry it with this flat screwdriver. Just leave the whole assembly like that. Now inside over here, there's a phillips screw there, or flat head screw, and you loosen that, and that's going to release the air injection tube. So now this whole assembly should come off. You got to pry it out a bit because it kind of goes into the intake boot here, that part. And there's a little connector down here as well. Right below that you can see the plastic nipple there underneath, and that connects into the crankcase intake boot as well for the impulse air that goes to the carburetor. So you don't want to pry it because that can easily break. And now I'm just going to pull it off. And next I'm going to take off the 4 screws that hold the cylinder. Again, this should be the same size of Allen wrench as you've been using all along. You can see the screws there. Sometimes they've got a lot of dirt in them, so you really have to push down for the wrench to grab. Now the cylinder may be stuck at times, but today it's not. So just gently bring it up. There you go. You've got the piston there in the ring, and some of your screws are going to fall out. So I'm going to put back the screws in here, as many as I can find. So there should be 4 altogether. So I put all the cylinder screws back just in case I ever fix this saw. It's a lot easier than sifting through a bag of fasteners. So there we're going to get a closer look at the piston in the ring. So you can see it's pretty bad. The ring is actually stuck in the piston. It will not budge out of there at all. Inside here you can see there's scratches. There's a lot of damage. This could be caused by carbon or low oil in the gas, and also overheating. So even the bearing and the wrist pin there is a bit loose, feels a bit loose. So here's a close look. That's the exhaust side, and that's usually where all the damage is. So next we'll take a look at the cylinder. So the cylinder doesn't really look much better. You can actually see some scoring in there, and if you pass your finger in there, I can actually feel some grooves in there. So this cylinder is pretty well finished. There's no point in honing it and reboring it. It's just not worth it. So what this saw would need is a complete top end. The piston, the ring, and the cylinder. So I'm just going to throw this saw into a box with all the parts labeled, the box labeled, and if ever I get other parts for it, I will reassemble it and fix it up.